Sure, here's a short story of a girl smoking in a park. It was late afternoon when Sarah found herself walking through the park, the sunlight filtering through the canopy of trees above. The air was crisp, filled with the earthy scent of wet grass and the distant hum of city life. She had come here for a few minutes of peace, something that had become harder to come by in the last few weeks. Life seemed to be moving at a speed she couldn't keep up with. Sarah had always loved the park. It was her quiet sanctuary, a place where she could disconnect from the hustle and bustle of the world. The park, with its winding paths, sprawling meadows, and the occasional group of children laughing or couples strolling, felt like a world apart, a place where time slowed down, even if only for a little while. She pulled out a pack of cigarettes from her bag, the familiar crinkle of the packaging offering some small comfort. Sarah had never been a heavy smoker, but there was something about the ritual of it, the flick of the lighter, the slow inhale, that grounded her. It was an escape, a temporary reprieve from the chaos of her thoughts. She sat down on a bench near a cluster of trees, the branches swaying gently in the breeze. Taking a deep breath, she placed a cigarette between her lips and flicked the lighter. The flame danced for a moment before settling, and she took a long drag, feeling the smoke fill her lungs. The sensation was always the same, a sharp burn that was somehow soothing. She exhaled slowly, watching the smoke curl and disappear into the evening air. As she smoked, Sarah's mind wandered. It had been a rough few weeks. She had just ended a long-term relationship, one that she thought would last forever. But life had a way of shifting, of changing things you never expected. She wasn't sure how to feel anymore. Sad, relieved, angry. Maybe all of the above. The park was quiet, save for the soft rustling of leaves and the occasional chirp of a bird. Sarah closed her eyes for a moment, enjoying the solitude. She liked being alone, especially here. There was something about the stillness of the park that made her feel like she was part of something larger, something eternal. A voice interrupted her thoughts. "Mind if I sit here?" Sarah opened her eyes and saw a girl standing by the bench, her expression tentative but curious. She was a few years younger than Sarah, maybe in her early 20s, with long brown hair pulled back into a messy ponytail and wearing a faded denim jacket over a black t-shirt. She was holding a half-empty water bottle in one hand. Sarah paused, surprised by the interruption. She wasn't used to strangers approaching her in the park, and she wasn't sure if she wanted the company right now. But there was something in the girl's eyes, something that made her hesitate. "Sure," Sarah replied, shifting slightly to make room on the bench. The girl sat down beside her, pulling her knees to her chest and staring out at the park. She didn't say anything for a moment, and Sarah wasn't sure if she was going to speak at all. The silence between them was comfortable, though. It wasn't awkward like Sarah had expected. The girl glanced at Sarah's cigarette, then back at the ground. "Do you mind if I—" she asked softly, her voice trailing off. Sarah understood immediately. "Go ahead," she said, offering the pack of cigarettes to the girl. She was surprised when the girl hesitated before taking one. There was a certain shyness to her, a hesitancy that made Sarah wonder if she was really a smoker at all. But the girl took the cigarette, and after a moment's thought, she pulled out a lighter from her pocket. The girl lit the cigarette and took a small, tentative drag, holding the smoke in for a moment before exhaling slowly. Sarah watched her, the girl's nervousness making her smile to herself. There was something almost endearing about the way the girl tried to seem casual, trying to fit in with the act of smoking. For a few minutes, neither of them spoke. The sound of their breathing and the soft crackle of the leaves filled the air. Sarah found herself relaxing, feeling a strange connection with this stranger on the bench. She had no idea who she was or why she was there, but in that moment it didn't matter. Finally, the girl spoke again. "I don't normally smoke," she said, her voice quiet but thoughtful. "But it felt like the right moment, you know?" Sarah nodded, understanding exactly what she meant. Sometimes life threw you into situations where you just needed to step outside of yourself, even if only for a moment. Smoking, for Sarah, had always been one of those moments. It wasn't about addiction, it was about giving herself a break from the noise in her head. I get that, Sarah replied, offering a soft smile. The girl glanced at her, her eyes meeting Sarah's. There was something vulnerable in the way she looked at her, as if she was searching for something, trying to